Hello there, good morning. You're welcome to Newsroom on GHOne TV. I am Serwaa Amihere. Let's begin with our top stories. Coming up in the next hour, how important is history to Ghana's education sector? We ask, as Education Minister charges new curriculum review committee to set the record straight on Ghana's founder. Also coming up, opposition NPP vows to come back in 2028 as the party sets up 9-member committee to review findings of its 2024 electoral defeat review. In business, GRA is set to clamp down on smuggling at borders to improve revenue leakage. And later, trial of man accused of killing 2 teens and keeping their body parts in refrigerator in Abisim to begin on May 26, 2025. We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. Please stay. You're welcome once again to Newsroom on GHOne TV. I am Serwaa Amihere. The news is streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X. Let's start with some politics. The NPP has set up a 9-member committee to review recommendations in the Professor Michael Oquaye-led Elections Review Committee. Now, the committee on Wednesday yesterday presented its findings to the National Executive Committee on reasons why the reasons behind the party's abysmal performance in the 2024 general elections. Several prominent figures in the party were in attendance, including former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and other key party stalwarts. Assuring a review of all the findings, the General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, also cautioned party communicators to be measured in their utterances in the media.
And at the emergency meeting, the council set up a review committee to do a postmortem of the 2024 elections. And today, the committee led by Reverend Professor Serwaa submitted their report to National Council. The National Council accepted the report, but there are several steps that we need to take as a party. As we receive the report today, we need to sit down and deliberate on the report. And key among the discussions that we had at National Council, and also based on the summary evening presentation that was done by Professor Michael Oquaye, there will be a need for some constitutional amendment. So based on that, the National Council has constituted a 9-member committee to look at Professor Michael Oquaye's report, particularly emphasis on where issues of proposals or amendment has to be made to our constitution. We want to let the media and the good people of Ghana know that we have just received the report today. We are yet to go into the details of what is entailed in the report. In the coming days, whatever we have to bring out to discuss or to communicate to our supporters or our members, the rank and file of our party, we do so. But we want to caution members of our party not to be in the haste to say things which are not even in the report. And for people to make several assumptions, to even make accusations and counter-accusations on social media and the media.
Well, flowing from that, the NPP says they will keep the report private for now, and that has also been met with a lot of mixed reaction. However, governance expert Dr. Frederick Odo believes there's absolutely nothing wrong with political parties keeping their reports to themselves for internal reasons. He joins us via phone for a conversation on this. Doc, thank you very much for your time. You've been following that meeting. They say they're keeping it private and cautioned party communicators not to be saying things that are not even in the report. Your reaction?
Well, I mean, every serious political party conducts a review of every election, whether the party wins or loses. Because if you win, you want to know what you did right and what you can improve. If you lose, you need to know what you didn't do right and what you can do better next time. I mean, the loss of the MPP in the last election is quite unprecedented, if we can use that word. And it calls for a serious review. But of course, I can understand why the party would refuse to, divulge the information in the report to the public. Because there are several reasons, I believe, that will account for us. First and foremost, you don't want your political competitors to know what you have identified, what you are thinking about, what you have, because all political parties, I mean the serious political parties, would want to know what the NPP knows, so that they can also strategize around that. So naturally, you want to keep it to yourself. And then there are other things that the party would have done wrong. Just if it becomes so obvious to the public, everybody will see them as not a serious party. Again, I believe political parties do not do everything legal. There are things they do that are not legal, for which reason they wouldn't want the public to know. So, based on a myriad of issues, but particularly not wanting their political competitors know what they are about, they would want to keep this information to themselves.
Doc, I get your point, and you have very valid reasons. But for a party like the NPP and the kind of defeats that they suffered in the last election, many have said that they have not been truthful with the party, and even without the report, a lot of people have a very fair idea of why the NPP lost the election. Do you not agree with those who say that perhaps releasing that report and making its content known will boost the confidence, or even tell Ghanaians that probably, or just maybe, they are on the path to being honest with them after that defeat?
Well, a political party can be honest to the public without divulging all the information. You can be honest by beginning to show that, yes, we made mistakes over ABC, specific issues. We were not listening. We did not do what the people have said of us. So we are sorry for that. That is being honest. But you don't have to come out to say that, we sent some people to do something and they didn't do it. We entrusted this person to do it. This minister failed. The presidency failed to execute. That's why we lost. You may not have to go out there to, definitively indicate that this is what we did that is wrong. But then you have accept corporate responsibility for the loss, give a general apology, pledge to be more responsive, and that should be acceptable. But to come out with a full report and tell the whole world, this is what we identified, and this is where we went from, then you are arming your political competitors. And I don't think anybody will do that. Look, there's a history to this.
All right.
In 2017, the NDC had Professor Buche's report. That never came out. The NPP came out with all sorts of things, speculated on aspects of the report. The NDC never responded to all those things. So I think it sets a blueprint as to why political parties should be able to keep such reports to themselves. Now, what, based on that report, to ensure they can correct the mistakes they've made?
Thank you very much. Dr. Frederick Udu is a governance expert, doesn't believe or doesn't think that the NPP should make their report public. Away from that, Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has urged a 13-member committee tasked with reviewing the kindergarten to primary 6 curriculum to settle the long-standing debate over Ghana's founders once again and do it once and for all as part of its review process. Addressing the steering committee after its inauguration, the minister stressed the need for historical clarity in foundational education. The Tamale South legislator urged the committee to ensure that the revised curriculum accurately reflects Ghana's political history, particularly the role of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and other prominent figures, to end the decades of controversy over the country's founding narrative.
I'm at a loss that at 68 years we are still grappling with who are the founders of Ghana and who is the founding leader of Ghana or who is the founding father of Ghana. This must be a settled matter. In every country, there are its founding fathers. It's reasonable to conclude that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Osajefo is a founding leader of Ghana. But if at this age, you still want children to be asking fathers and mothers questions, who is the founder of Ghana, who are the founders of Ghana, then there is a problem. At 68 years, you shouldn't be asking who birthed you as a country. So I'm sure many of you growing up, including those who are even instigating this debate, were themselves students of history. I'm sure whether you have read Professor Bois or Professor Albert Adubuahin or Professor Baku or Professor Kokoyo Doty or Professor Robert Adufin and others and other anthropological writers. So your review of curricula must end this matter. I don't want Ghanaian children to grow up not knowing who its founding fathers are or who its foundational leader was. And I expect that your review will bring the debate settled on this particular matter. That is not to say that I recognize what the other contributions of other founding fathers were in our independence struggle, but place each of them where they historically belong, with the fact and literature supporting those matters.
Well, we're back to having this conversation again, I guess. Let's speak to Executive Director of the Institute for Educational Studies, Dr. Peter Partey Anti. Doc, thank you very much for your time. Has there really ever been a debate, or all that while it was just politics?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning. Yeah. Well, I think that the issue of who the founder of Ghana is shouldn't have been the focus of the minister's press conference. In fact, after inaugurating the review committee, for me, I think there are more pressing and important issues that we should focus on when it comes to our curriculum issues. For example, we had specific competencies that we wanted our students to imbibe when we implemented the standard-based curriculum for KG to basic 6. To what extent have we been able to achieve it? Have we been able to change the mindsets, the socio-emotional development attitudes of our children at that level based on the standard-based curriculum? These are very important issues that I'm thinking that any review should be focused on, and not to get ourselves back into the debate of who did what or who did what. And you can see that is the part that has taken over the media space, because that is what most people are interested in. But there have been serious challenges with the implementation of the standard-based curriculum. The issue of resources which were not available, and because of all those things, we were not able to achieve the targets, the objectives set for the standard-based curriculum that was implemented since 2019. And I was thinking that those are the areas that we should be more interested in, so that we don't repeat these mistakes going into another review.
But Doc, I mean, I get the point that you make, but I don't think that my question has been answered, because yes, it's important to look at the curriculum, but the long-standing debates in the last couple of years, who is the founder, was the founder, founders, and all that. Is this something that we need to really be talking about?
The point I'm trying to make is that there was no need for the minister to make that statement, because the exercise he was giving them is more cumbersome and complicated than just who founded Ghana and who did not found Ghana. That's the point I'm trying to make. We should not reduce a curriculum review to such a conversation, because there are more important issues that we need our case to be developed. So we should not reduce it to that conversation, and that is the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, but Doc, if I asked you who's the founder of Ghana, what would you tell me as a student?
You still so much interested in this. It's Kwame Nkrumah. Who else?
Okay, so if you are very clear on that, does that mean that as a country, we should all be very clear in our minds that it was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah who founded the country?
In fact, for me, there's no debate about this.
Right.
There's no debate about this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the minister inaugurating a committee to review a curriculum that has lived its lifespan of almost 6 years should not reduce the conversation to that so-called debate about who founded Ghana. That's the point I'm trying to make.
All right. Thank you very much. Dr. Peter Partey Anti is the Executive Director of the Institute for Educational Studies. The Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nartey George, is calling for the scrapping of the LI on mining and forest reserves. He describes illegal mining as a criminal act, as this activity destroys our water bodies, and persons found guilty must be brought to book without hesitation, irrespective of their positions in the country. Sam George holds firmly to his decision that amending the law on illegal mining will not solve the situation. He spoke with my colleague Nadide earlier on Morning Star.
I have made my personal opinion on the decision to amend the LI on mining and forest reserves. I hold the view that LI should be scrapped. It shouldn't be amended. That's my personal view. Because my argument is simple. There must be absolutely no mining in river bodies or in forest reserves. There should be no room for any discretion taken by any political appointee. So my position hasn't changed. This is what I believe. Illegal mining in water bodies, because again, let's be clear, there's a difference between small-scale mining and illegal mining, and I've been always very clear about that. Illegal mining in water bodies and forest reserves is a criminal act, and I don't care who is involved in it, whether they are NDC or NPP. Deal with them, arrest them, jail them, because when they contaminate the water that flows in our pipes from Ghana Water, and is heavily chemical laden right now, does not ask what your party color is before it flows into your house. And so I am not interested in whether you are NDC or whether you are MPP. If you are engaged in illegal mining in water bodies and forest reserves, you're a criminal and an enemy of the state. My argument is, look, amending it doesn't fix it. Scrap it. There should be absolutely no mining in our forest reserves. Absolutely none.
The minority in Parliament says President Mahama is attempting to suspend and subsequently remove the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Legal counsel for the caucus and Member of Parliament for Swami, John Darko, says the petitions are frivolous and intelligence available to the minority suggests that plans are in motion to put a known sympathizer of the NDC in Justice Gertrude Torkornoo's stead. There's more from that press conference.
The minority in Parliament has issued a stern warning to President Mahama and the Council of State against removing Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. The CJ has responded to 3 petitions for her removal, setting the stage for the President in consultation with the Council of State to set the process in motion. But even before the presidency updates the public on whether a prima facie has been determined, The minority alleges a grand plot to suspend the CJ under Article 146. Addressing the media, legal counsel for the Minority Caucus and the MP for Swami, John Dako, argued the petitions should not have been entertained by the president, just as former President Akufo-Addo dismissed the earlier ones. Mr. Dako argued that any attempt to remove the CJ will set Ghana back to the dark ages.
In difficult times, our courts, especially the Supreme Court, has held the balance of power. We remember the cases of Akufo-Addo versus Mahama in 2013. We also remember Mahama and Akufo-Addo in 2021, where our Supreme Court did justice to what is seemed fair at the time, ensured that the status quo remain. It is in the light of the above that we see the spurious petition for the removal of the CJ as a serious setback to our democratic journey.
The group has also been describing contents of the petition as frivolous.
The purpose of the petition, we have gathered, is to malign the head of the judiciary, orchestrate her removal, and thereby silencing the judiciary, and finally to exert control. The framers of our constitution made each of the arms of government independent and separate, yet made provisions for checks and balances, and that will ensure respect for each branch of government. The framers did not provide for an executive overreach, an overreach drawn from phony allegations such as the one against the current CJ. How can a serious country, mindful of its past, desirous of improving its democratic credentials, entertain such loose petitions to orchestrate the destruction of the last bastion of our democracy?
Beyond claiming that the president is attempting to remove the CJ, the caucus also alleges that he is planning to replace her with an NDC sympathizer.
We are aware of plans being hatched to invoke Article 14610A to suspend the CJ, to appoint somebody who is a known sympathizer of the current NDC government to act as the Chief Justice of the Republic. To you, this judge, and to all judges who entertain such desires, Justice Tokunu's distraction should not be the grounds for your rising to the office of Chief Justice. To you, that judge, remember that you can rise together, but if you ride on the distraction of somebody to rise, remember that posterity will not be kind to you.
The Minority Caucus is therefore demanding that the president desist from implementing the removal and subsequent replacement of Chief Justice Tokonu.
Well, let's stay on this a bit further. Former Tamale Central Member of Parliament, Inisa Hussaini, is dismissing claims that the petition seeking the removal of the Chief Justice.
An application or when a petition for the removal of a justice or a justice of the Superior Court of Judicature or the Chief Justice, as the case may be, is submitted to the President, there are certain procedural requirements that the President will have to follow. And those procedural requirements, if it is for the removal of a justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, must be forwarded to the Chief Justice for a determination whether a prima facie case has been made up against the Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature. If it is the Chief Justice, the procedure requires that the President, in consultation with the Council of State, must determine whether the petitions raise a prima facie case. Everything about the petition, whether it is for the removal of a Chief Justice or a Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, must be held in camera. I don't know why this panicky behavior. Why? Because you need to protect the dignity and sanctity of the office of the Chief Justice or the office of the Superior Court, Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature. You don't have those matters do not come into the public until there is, first of all, prima facie for the establishment of the committee, and then for the committee, if a prima facie is established, for the committee to sit in camera, even if a prima facie decision is made, that doesn't mean that the committee will return a verdict of if you want, for a lack of better word, guilty. There's no merit at all. I mean, they're just making the matter excessively partisan. There's absolutely no merit.
Well, a lot is being said and has been said about this on social media, and Nanama quite standing by with all of that. Nanama, good afternoon.
Well,
good morning.
Serwaa, thank you. According to a Global Info Analytics poll, 52% of Ghanaians believe that the CJ should be removed from office. Let's go to Facebook. Jonathan Savage says, point of correction, it's 75%, not 52%. Savage indeed. We have D. Willie, power is transient. Continue. Ghana, my motherland. We have Ochihima Na. The question is she competent at all? Junior says these are NDC foot soldiers. When we move over to X, we have here, yes, we support that and she must go. She's going around canvassing for support through a useless minority and other sellouts. She reduced the judiciary to a mockery with her past rulings and behavior. She must and will go. We have here Foster. I support her removal, but I was never contacted, so we are more than 52%. Our last comment is Benjamin here. How do I vote? Please, can someone add my name to people in support of her removal? Well, things are just getting interesting. So let's see what happens in the coming days. My name is Nanama Akwa. Serwaa, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Nanama, for bringing us those comments. Let's take it to the court now. And the trial of Richard Amihere, a draughtsman accused of murdering 2 minors and storing their bodies in a refrigerator at Abisim near Sunyai, is set to begin on May 26, 2025. This follows the revision of the new criminal assizes initiative, that is the July reform. I beg your pardon, the Assizes Initiative, aimed at expediting indictable cases like murder, robbery, and rape. Amihere allegedly killed Louise Ajiman, 12 years, and Stephen Sapon, 15 years, and was charged with 2 counts of murder. Amihere's plea will be retaken, and a jury will be empaneled, followed by a case management conference. The trial is expected to commence with daily proceedings as per the new initiative's requirements. The prosecution, led by Senior State Attorney Nanama Edinkra, will rely on various documents including investigations, caution statement, Amihere statements dated August 21, 2021, August 23, 2021, September 10, 2021, autopsy reports, report on Stephen Sapon and Louise Ajiman dated December 16, 2022 and May 25, 2023 respectively. Images of the deceased body parts, clothes, and a double-door fridge containing body parts. The prosecution has listed 13 written statements and 5 witness statements, including from Esiama Yeboah, Kwesi Boateng, ACP Dr. Wuswe Friye, ASP Alaji Shaibu Yakubu Damwin, Chief Inspector Alexander Ochre Thomas Eje, who is father of Louise Ajiman, whose statement is pending due to his indisposition. Amihere had previously pleaded not guilty to the charges. His trial was put on hold pending the introduction of the new jury initiative. Still on the court, Nigerian businessman Uchechukwu Chima, 56, has pleaded not guilty to charges related to possession of narcotics and use of property for narcotic offenses. Chima is standing trial for allegedly possessing 192 kg of cocaine and 0.42 kg of heroin valued at $2.1 million seized from his hideout in Oyarefa, Accra. The accused faces multiple counts, including possession of narcotic drugs without lawful authority and use of property for narcotic offenses contrary to sections 48(1)(a) and (b) of the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020 Act 1019. On April 17, the prosecution, led by Assistant State Attorney Watkins Adama, withdrew the previous charge sheet and introduced a new one with 4 additional counts. Chima pleaded not guilty to the 4 counts. Let's cross over now and speak with our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa, for an update on this. Mutala, thank you very much for joining us. What do you have for us? What happened in court today?
Yes, so as you rightly indicated, 2 big cases have just come up, and one of many focus in relation to that $2.1 million cocaine saga. At the last court sitting, the court presided over by Justice Ruby Aite did order the prosecution to expedite investigations or processes to ensure that the trial commences. In fact, today, they were able to file a new charge sheet that they indicated they were filing. But what was missing was that it was not served on the defense counsel as it has to be done. But Paul Asibi Abariga was of the view that they can go on with the processes of the day, the activities of the day, and then deal with that later on. And in fact, in his point, by way of setting the record straight, after the prosecution had moved the charge sheet and his plea was taken, was to the effect that things that were said in the brief fact do not match, or the accused person have not been interrogated on, including some money that they have alleged, including the money that we are talking about now. What he said was that at the next agenda, when they have the opportunity, you'll be able to tell the court what exactly the true story is. However, he's indicating that today would not be a day for him to move a bail application. He'll rather wait and file an official bail application by the next agenda for the court, for the case to be heard. But what is clear is that prosecution has filed a fresh charge sheet. 4 counts have been preferred against the accused person. All of them, he said he is not guilty to them.
Thank you very much. Mutala Inusa is our court correspondent reporting live from the court complex in Accra. Let's take you up north now. Tensions are rising in the Binduri district of the Upper East region as the chiefs and people led by the divisional chief Naba Akwom Robert Akobila GHOne II have issued a strong call to the government to immediately lift the ban on tricycles locally known as Aboboya or Motor Kings. The tricycles, which serve as a primary mode of transportation for residents, have been banned due to the ongoing security concerns, leaving a trail of hardship, stalled economic activities, and a looming threat of civil action.
Frustration is reaching a boiling point in the Binduri district of the Upper East region. The chief and people of the area, under the leadership of Divisional Chief Naba Akwom Robert Akobila GHOne II, are demanding the immediate lifting of the government's imposed ban on tricycles, the lifeline of local transportation and commerce. According to the chief, the ban has brought immense suffering to residents, with pregnant women, children and the sick unable to access critical health care due to the lack of transport. He described the move as too harsh and targeted, warning that the entire Kusang area is being punished for political and chieftaincy reasons.
At some courtesies, the law is applied and enforced. In Kusang, it is not applied and enforced. Why? It is something we cannot answer. If you look at Kusang today, the one-time serene area where people of varying lives came, economic activities on course, and everybody wished he came to Kusang, and for that matter, particularly Boku, to work. Today, nobody would like to come to Boku area to work, let alone work in Boku itself. The question is, why?
The chief also accused the continuous stay of what he described as unconstitutional chief, Seydou Agabre, as the root cause of unrest in the area.
If you look at things carefully, this curfew is not only Binduri they have imposed upon, but it has been imposed on Kusang in general. Kusang. Now, are they going to say Kusang should be cut off from the other parts of Ghana? If not, a second look should be put on the curfew imposed on Binduri.
Meanwhile, Traders who have suffered post-harvest losses say that if the tricycles do not return soon, they will take to the streets.
They say I my truck cabbage can room, menya motoki manun kwafa can do in Juma. Say when you buy a can ya bontia slab. Oh, we are mobile motor curfew, no, you can do curfew, no, Maya. Nayantimin Toy and Yaman and Quan in your hair, my school. Yes, Rana. Obi Alecra, to me, Famoto and Fano Hospital. Oh, Alecrano, Wofia, Ubewu.
They haven't been to school because of motor riding. And if I didn't go to school, my children will not also go to school. All the students in the school, they will not come to school because nothing is in the school that you will come and learn. We read the masses, we are afraid. There's some fear in us that we can't go to the school. So we are just begging on behalf of the government and his staff to come and do something.
Our mothers are in the house. They normally come with the candles and the motorkins. Now they ban all those things. They are not riding motors, they are not riding candles, and they are not also riding the motorkins. They don't even know how to bring their things to the market to sell. Now they put the things in the house and the things are there spoiling. So now we don't even know how to feed.
The Binduri area sits strategically along the Trans-ECOWAS highway and at the heart of Kusang, making the ban not only a humanitarian concern but also an impediment to cross-border trade and local economic survival. The community is now calling on President John Dramani Mahama and the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohunu, to intervene with urgency.
In response to recent attacks and acts of vandalism in Boko, the overlord of the Mampugu traditional kingdom, His Majesty Nayiri Nabohaga Mahami Abdullahi Sheriga, has condemned the incidents as acts of lawlessness and terrorism perpetrated by certain youth within the kingdom. The overlord emphasized that any injustice or attack against a citizen of the Mampugu kingdom would compel the kingdom to defend itself. He further urged the government to enhance the logistics and resources of the security services to effectively uphold law and order in the region. My colleague Noah Nash was at that presser that was addressed by the overlord and joins us with more. Noah, thank you very much. You look safe. Thank God that you are safe. What else was said at that press conference?
And what was said at the press conference is the fact that the overlord noticed within the investigation that was conducted by his subjects that those investigations revealed that it looks like some terrorism activities are taking place within the Boku enclave all the way to Pasiga and the Biduri area. They believe that it may not necessarily be indigents themselves, but some few bandits may be taking advantage of the situation within the Boku enclave to do that. So based on those particular revelations that he made, he actually gave some recommendations to government. One of them is to increase security personnel, including military personnel within the Boku enclave. They believe that the work of the 2-4 committee will probably bring in a lasting solution to the crisis within the Boku enclave. So therefore, the presence of the security will improve the situation and not just increasing the number of security men at the place, but also the logistic support that would enable the security to patrol the various enclaves, enable trade activities to take place within the various markets will actually be in place. So these are some of the few things he said. And they also talked about the unification of transport systems. They feel that the overlord feels that both Kusasis and Mampusis do not take this whole conflict as a war because that there's a need for the youth among them to dialogue and be happy. And so therefore, a unified transport system which will enable movement and trade activities to take place within the Boku enclave would enhance the economic livelihood of the people. And therefore, they call for the security to also protect those livelihood activities that take place within the market very seriously, because it doesn't matter who is involved, whether it's Kusasis or Mampusi, the protection should be given to both, and it must be equal. These were some of the things they apparently shared this morning with us.
Noah, thank you very much for bringing us that. Noah Nash is our correspondent up north. Let's listen quickly to the press conference.
Insufficient manpower and logistics by deploying the required number of personnel to maintain law and order. Though costly, this measure is far more prudent than bearing the price of insecurity. 2. Empower security forces. Ensure that security forces operate without undue political force from neighboring Burkina Faso and Togo, hindered from conducting business freely in their chosen markets. 4. Protect critical institutions, providers of water and electricity, from the disrupting instigated by criminal activities to affect undue acid positivity. 4. Unified transport systems. Implement the operation of single mooring stations to curtail targeting by armed bandits. 6. Establish strategic checkpoints. Deploy joint police and military checkpoints at intervals of every 5 miles.
A level 100 student of the University of Education, Winneba, identified as Nicholas Kumi-Dankwa, has reportedly taken his own life following a breakup with his girlfriend. According to information gathered by Kasapa News' Yabwejan, the tragic incident happened at the GUSSS hall, where the deceased allegedly hanged himself in a hostel bathroom. Sources indicate that Nicholas's girlfriend ended their relationship after discovering that the deceased had forwarded her nude photos to her father. The girlfriend is said to have previously shared those private images and videos, reportedly 2 years ago with another partner. That partner allegedly sent the files to Nicholas, who then forwarded them to her father. Devastated by the breakup, Nicholas is said to have rushed to the bathroom, stood on a bucket, and committed suicide. The case has since been reported to the Winneba Municipal Police, who have launched an investigation into the matter. The body of the deceased has been deposited at the Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital mortuary for autopsy and preservation. The university is yet to release an official statement on the incident. Family of the deceased has also been informed. Let's have a conversation on this. Joining me via Zoom is Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur to help us unpack this. He's a psychologist. Doc, it's been a while. I hope you're well.
I'm fine, thank you. A little stressed, but it's okay.
You can't be more stressed than the young lady in this situation. But Doc, what is happening? I think every time I speak to you, something like this has happened. You know, someone is having some psychological or emotional trauma. But this is very troubling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And usually when things happen like that, we focus on the current issues. But for suicidal issues, usually the person may not even be in the right mental state, even before those events happen. So there may be multiple issues in this person's life. And whatever he experienced may be the trigger. Because usually suicide-related behaviors is multifactorial. It means that there are multiple issues that the person may have been dealing with. It may even start from the person's growth, family-related issues, childhood trauma, neglect, and everything else. Now he goes to school, finds someone who expresses love, then this person also disappoints. And so the disappointment in itself may not be the only risk factor. There may be other things. And that is why we cannot trivialize or oversimplify suicide-related behaviors.
But Doc, how then do we go about it? We shouldn't oversimplify it, but how do we put the focus on the one who is, the deceased, without not looking at the harm that the deceased caused the other person before deciding to take his or her own life?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying we shouldn't look at that. I'm only saying that whatever happened is not just that. There may be other things. And so we need to look at it in a very, very broad context. And again, for example, whatever happened to him, he was in a certain distress. His mental well-being was impacted by the situation. So if he had actually gone to the hospital to seek help from a mental health professional, he would still be alive. For example, if someone has malaria or has hypertension, or heart attack, they see it as an emergency. They see it as a health issue. They go to the hospital. And so when someone has any emotional pain, any emotional trauma, any emotional distress based on some situation, that situation is a mental health issue. And so the same way they go to the hospital when they have some malaria or pneumonia or something, the same way they must go to the hospital to seek the help of a mental health worker to be able to help them deal with that particular situation. This guy would have been alive if he had attended to some people. I've actually attended to people who are currently alive just because they reached out when they were in some emotional distress. They would have died by suicide. I'd even gone to even save someone on the way to attempting or dying by suicide. On the way, the person was going on the way. I had to rush to save the person. So those are emergency situations for mental health workers.
Okay, but Doc, for those who are watching, there are people who are feeling the way you're talking about without even realizing it sometimes and having one mental health problem or the other. Where is the nearest place or, the first place that should come in mind if you're faced with a situation like this? Can you just walk into any hospital?
Yes. Yeah, walk into any hospital. Thankfully now, because of government interventions over the years and also the work of major mental health bodies, Mental Health Authority, Ghana Psychological Council, my association, Ghana Psychological Association, we have Psychiatrists Association, there are all kinds of mental health bodies that have helped in terms of progress. So now you can walk into any health facility, go into any health facility, ask that you want to talk to a mental health professional. It can be a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a counselor, mental health nurse, someone who has been designated to help with things. And they would be able to attend to you. Even if they don't have someone there, they will be able to refer you to see someone. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Newman Arthur. Always a pleasure talking to you. He's a clinical psychologist. Away from that, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has highlighted that initiatives such as the West African Power Pool and the Abidjan-Lagos corridor are enhancing connectivity, trade and industrialization effectively, moving the sub-region towards a borderless entity. Ablakwa made these remarks during a press briefing announcing the upcoming launch of the 50th anniversary celebration of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, scheduled for April 22, 2025 in Accra, Ghana. Established on May 28, 1975 by regional leaders under the Treaty of Lagos, ECOWAS played a pivotal role in promoting integration through security, trade, and other collaborative efforts.
This special launch will be hosted by President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. As we reflect on the state of our regional economic community, it is no exaggeration to say that the legacy of ECOWAS over the past 5 decades has been one of modest transformation, driving regional integration through harmonization of policy, pooling of resources, and cooperation for a collective and strategic combat against a myriad of problems confronting the region. Through protocols such as the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, ECOWAS Brown Card Insurance Scheme, and the ECOWAS Free Movement of Goods, Persons, Residents, and Establishment, the regional body has achieved an appreciable level of regional integration with an enviable track record on the continent. Thousands of young West Africans have gained critical skills, fostering a new generation of entrepreneurs engineers, and policymakers through initiatives such as the EU ECOWAS scholarship programs, infrastructure projects such as the West Africa Power Pool and the Abidjan-Lagos corridor are strengthening connectivity, trade, and industrialization, bringing us closer to a borderless West Africa.
It's now time to bring you the latest in the world of business. The Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Sapon, says the authority is putting in place measures to clamp down on smuggling of products from neighboring ECOWAS countries. According to Anthony Sapon, the ramifications of smuggling does not disrupt the economy, but also contributes to fluctuating prices, undermines local businesses, and erodes public trust in regulatory systems. These remarks were made during a courtesy call by Coca-Cola Managing Director Felix Gomis to the Commissioner of Customs and the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority.
As it's been raised, we face some challenges when it comes to smuggling of some of the products of Coca-Cola that are entering the country, where we believe that action should be taken at least to relook at what's going on over there. We have no doubt that with the close collaboration that we have had with GRA and indeed with this, let's say, under the Commissioner General, Mr. Sarpong, we believe that it's also a big opportunity for us to reinforce even our collaboration further for mutual benefit of the country.
We are all aware how the global economy is going in terms of financial flow to support developing countries being tightened. We're also aware of the recent trade war that is taking place across the globe. And therefore we must cherish building our own and ensuring that whatever we have, we support. We are prepared to collaborate with you, to work as partners, to make sure that the areas of smuggling and other underworld activities that destroy businesses that are rightfully performing their activities and paying their rightful taxes, we collaborate to make sure that we minimize those actions.
The bulk oil storage and transportation company BOST is set to prioritize local content as it embarks on a sweeping infrastructure expansion aimed at strengthening Ghana's downstream petroleum sector and positioning the country as a regional hub for fuel logistics. Speaking on the sidelines of the Accra investor briefing session of the Invest in Africa Energy Roadshow, the technical advisor at BOST, Nana Moisi, the 7th, outlined a robust pipeline of projects focused on modernizing aging infrastructure, improving efficiency in product transportation, and expanding the nation's capacity to hold strategic fuel reserves.
Small and medium scale enterprises must be given room, and Ghanaian companies are given opportunity to also have a bite of every investment that we have in the petroleum downstream and also upstream. And so some of the jobs are clearly dedicated to local companies. For instance, the laying of the pipeline, the 12-inch pipeline from Tema to Akosombo, will be dedicated solely to a Ghanaian company. A pigging of the line or intelligent testing of these lines will be dedicated partly to a Ghanaian company and a foreign company. And major projects, including the barge fleet that we want to double. Even though it's a Water Lake Transportation Company that does the movement of these barges, BOST owns some of the barges and want to buy more, and is ready to partner with private companies to also buy or procure these barges and operate. And so there's a room for Ghanaian companies to be part of BOST, and also the opportunity is right for Ghana to also utilize the BOST infrastructure to meet its own domestic need and also to serve the Sahelian market.
That's it for business. Time to bring you some sports news. And Mrs. Bukari is standing by with that. Hi there.
Hi, Serwaa.
Your team lost.
Oh, yeah, Real Madrid, we are out. I can't believe it. But last week I told you it's going to be tough. I told you.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. You've lost.
The Ramatanda, whatever it says,
yeah,
work.
You've lost. You've lost.
You've lost. You've lost. So let's bring you details on GPL and also the Champions League shortly. Highlights of the Ghana Premier League and head coach of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Prosper Nate Ogum, has admitted the team lost the game on a counter-attack. Accra Lions thrashed league leaders Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium 3-0. Jacob Awute's early goal and the Alsopoli's second half strike gave the home team a comfortable lead, which substitute David's fine finish. Let's now hear from both coaches, Prosper Nate Ogum and Raina Craft from Accra Lions.
Game. I think we lost the game on a counter-attack. If you look at the two first-half goals that they scored, they were all as a result of counter-attacks. We're trying to create opportunity to score, and then out of that, we let loose some of their players, which resulted in the goals. It's some changes today, tried to reshuffle the team. I think the team played well until we lost. We considered those two goals. I think we're playing well tactically. We're going man for man, trying to make sure that we deny them the time and space on the ball. So to me, I think we did some changes in the team, but then still we didn't get the results. It doesn't mean it is over. We still have to work harder.
We create these chances. We are just not patient enough. And this is lack of experience. This is the youth. They want to do everything very quick, very fast, instead of sometimes just holding the ball, waiting until you are overlapped by your teammate, then do a clinical pass. This is what we are suffering yet. 100%. If you see how the boys were dancing and celebrating in the locker, they know what they did. But to be honest, if you are just a fair sportsman, that wasn't the Asante Kotoko we used to see normally. So they haven't been that challenging team for us. With all the respect for my colleague coach and for the team, they made it quite easy for us today to win.
Away from the Ghana Premier League, let's now head to the UEFA Champions League, where Arsenal dumped holders Real Madrid out of the Champions League. Win at the Bernabeu sealed a 5-1 aggregate victory to set up a semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain, led by talismanic Bukayo Saka, who dinged a superb finish over Thibaut Courtois of Real Madrid in the second half, having earlier had a Panenka penalty saved by the goalkeeper Courtois. The victory ranks as one of the club's greatest in Europe and puts them in the last four of the competition for the first time since 2009 and only third time in their history. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta spoke after their game.
Probably not. Not only because we're in the semi-final for the third time in our history, but as well for the manner and the way we did it, not only by the way we played, but as well with the circumstances and the amount of injuries that we have. So I think overall, I think it shows the character of this team, of this club, and is a night to be very proud of. But the feeling that we had is a reality, basically, and the inner feeling that I had before the tie, and what the players were transmitting and how prepared I could feel the team that we are ready. We are ready to compete against anybody, and now we have to continue to do that because I think we have some momentum now.
And that's it here on Sports Beat, but join us at 1 p.m. for more sports on the game and also on Star FM 103.5. My name is Monica Bukayo. Back to you, Serwaa. Amihere.
Oh, your team lost though. You know, if it was some other team, you would have been on and on and on and on and on. Sorry.
That's okay.
That's it for sports. Okay. Let's bring you Izo now. Entrepreneurship Festival has officially appointed celebrated media mogul and CEO of the EIB network and founder of Empire Ghana, Nathan Kwabena Anochie DC, popularly known as Bolore, as a country board chair for Ghana ahead of the much anticipated 2025 festival. According to the release, Bolore joins the Global Entrepreneurship Festival board with an exceptional portfolio in media, business leadership and nation building. Speaking about the milestone, Bolore lauded the GEF team and expressed his excitement for his new accolade. As part of preparations for GEF 2025, Ghana is set to host the Global Business Mixer and a high-level press conference on April 25, 2025 at Labadi Beach Hotel in Accra. The event will bring together influential voices from business, government, and media to discuss Africa's entrepreneurship space and Ghana's emerging role in shaping its future. The Global Entrepreneurship Festival 2025 will run from November 21 to 23, 2025 at the Entrepreneurship Village in Nigeria, gathering innovators, policymakers, investors, and change makers from across the continent. And that's it for the news on behalf of the entire team, led by Mrs. Alice Eni. Thank you so much for watching. The news team will be back at 6:30 with News Tonight. I am Serwaa Amihere. I think Easter begins tomorrow. Enjoy.